Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Together with the Presidential Communications Office, we bring you the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news coverage from the People's Television, IBC, Philippine News Agency, Philippine Information Agency, and the Presidential Broadcast Service. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Joe Fernandez. Welcome to Balitang Pambansa. Tonight's headlines.
As a democratic country, we need to uphold the rule of law. Ako, bilang pinuno ng Executive Department at lahat ng mga nanunungkulan sa pamahalaan ay may sinumpaang tungkulin na tutupdin at pangangalagaan ang konstitusyon at ang ating mga batas. Ang katotohanan ay hindi dapat itokhang.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. breaks his silence following Vice President Sara Duterte's threats, stressing that truth must prevail. The National Bureau of Investigation initiates a probe and is set to issue a subpoena to Vice President Sara Duterte following her pronouncements. Lawmakers condemn the Vice President's tirades, throwing their support behind President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., First Lady Luis Liza Araneta Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. The Philippine National Police is studying the charges to be filed against the Vice President, treating the threats against the Chief Executive, First Lady, and House Speaker with the highest level of urgency. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. heads to the United Arab Emirates for a one-day working visit to strengthen bilateral relations and forge areas of cooperation. The Marcos administration's infrastructure spending soars to 137.1 billion pesos in September. And that was President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s message on the Vice President's tirades over the weekend. In related news, the President firmly responded to the threat posed to him, the First Lady, and House Speaker by the second highest official of the land. Such threat, especially one issued publicly against the leader of the land, will always be taken seriously. That is why authorities are conducting an investigation regarding the pronouncements of the Vice President. PTV's Noel Talakay has the full details.
Nakakabahala ang mga pahayag na narinig natin nitong mga nakarang araw. Nandyan ang walang pakundangang pagmumura at ang pagbabanta ng planong ipapatay ang ilan sa atin. Kung ganun na lang kadali ang pagplano sa pagpatay ng isang presidente, paano pa kaya ang mga pangkaraniwan na mamamayan? Yung ganyang kriminal na pagtatangka ay hindi dapat pinapalampas. Hindi na sanang hahantong sa ganitong drama kung sasakodin lamang ang mga lehitimong katanungan sa Senado at sa House of Representatives. Ang katotohanan ay hindi dapat itokhang. Tapos na sana ang usapang ito kung tutuparin lamang ang sinumpaang panata na bilang lingkod bayan ay magsabi ng totoo at hindi hahadlangan. Imbis na diretsahang sagot, nililihis pa sa kwentong chicheria.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. addressed recently threats made by Vice President Sara Duterte against him, First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Despite this, the President emphasized the importance of upholding the rule of law and expressing his commitment to serving as the nation's leader. The National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, is set to subpoena Vice President Duterte following her threatening remarks directed at the President and his family. During the press conference at the Malacanang, NBI Director Jaime Santiago announced that Facebook had approved the request to preserve the video wherein Vice President Duterte aired her threats. The investigation also seeks to identify an individual whom Duterte allegedly instructed to carry out an assassination of the president.
Gagawin po ng National Bureau of Investigation ang lahat ng mga hakbang para matuntun ang identity nito, kasama po ang pag-i-issue po ng subpoena kay Vice President Sara na humarap sa NBI para bigyan po ng kaliwanagan ang kanyang mga pananalita. Dahil po diretsuhan niyang sinabi na siya po ay kumuha na ng tao na siya pong gagawa ng pagpatay hindi lang po sa Pangulo, kasama po ang ating First Lady at ang ating Speaker of the House.
The NBI also said it has begun conducting an investigation if they had just ignored the statement of the Vice President that she would head cut the President's head off. By this time, the NBI and the Department of Justice vowed to leave no stone unturned. DOJ Undersecretary Andres says even the crime has not yet occurred, the person who are part of the plan for the assassination of the President and his family will still be held into account.
Right now, we are open to all possible crimes, and we are not looking at one particular offense, criminal offense. But as I said, definitely there will be criminal and other legal liabilities that will be enforced against the plotters and those who will execute it and those who took part in it. First, the Vice President is not immune from suit. She can be the subject of any criminal, administrative case, and the Ombudsman also has authority to do its duty to discipline and to take necessary measures.
The NBI also explained the reason for not arresting the Vice President immediately out of the courtesy for her position, a high respect for her, plus the strict observance of due process. However, the NBI says it is giving the Vice President a 5-day allowance to face the agency and dispute the allegation.
We are giving her chance, due process, to answer yung ibinibintang sa kanya. No, this is by way of subpoena.
The DOJ also says it is letting the House of Representatives decide whether to file impeachment proceedings against the Vice President. Moreover, Senior Deputy Speaker Aurelio Don Gonzales says that threatening the President is not only a criminal act but also shows a lack of leadership. While Senate President Francis Escudero advised the closest friends of VP Sara to tell her not to be impulsive in expressing her hard comments to the public. From PTV Manila, Noel Talakay, Balitang Pambansa.
Pahayag na narinig natin itong mga nakarang araw. Nandyan ang walang pakundangang pagmumura at ang pagbabanta ng planong ipapatay ang ilan sa atin. Kung ganun na lang kadali ang pagplano sa pagpatay ng isang presidente, paano pa kaya ang mga pangkaraniwan na mamamayan? Yang ganyang kriminal na pagtatangka ay hindi dapat pinapalampas. Yan ay aking papalagan. As a democratic country, we need to uphold the rule of law. Ako, bilang pinuno ng Executive Department at lahat ng mga nanunungkulan sa pamahalaan ay may sinumpaang tungkulin na tutupdin at pangangalagaan ang konstitusyon at ang ating mga batas. Kaya hindi tama ang pagpigil sa mga halal ng bayan sa paghahanap ng katotohanan. Hindi na sanang hahantong sa ganitong drama kung sasakutin lamang ang mga lehitimong katanungan sa Senado at sa House of Representatives. Ang katotohanan ay hindi dapat itokhang. Tapos na sana ang usapang ito kung tutuparin lamang ang sinumpaang panata na bilang lingkod bayan ay magsabi ng totoo at hindi hahadlangan. Imbis na diretsahang sagot, nililihis pa sa kwentong chicheria. Hangad ko na matuldukan na itong mga pangyayaring ito sa parang matiwasay at magdadala sa atin sa katotohanan. 12 taon din ako nanungkulan sa magkaparehong kamara ng Kongreso. Batid ko ang kapangyarihan iginawad sa kanila ng taong bayan at ng ating konstitusyon. Dahil dito, iginagalang ko ang kanilang gawain bilang isang independenteng sangay ng ating republika. Kahit ang buong executive branch, lahat ng mga ahensya, ay hindi nakakaligtas at parating sumasailalim sa kanilang masusing pagsusuri. Bilang isang bansa, marami tayong mga paghamon na dapat harapin at mga suliraning dapat bigyan ng lunas. Sa kabila ng mga pambabatikos, nakatuon ang aking pansin sa pamamahala. Ngunit, hindi natin ikokompromiso ang rule of law. Kailangan manaig ang batas sa anumang sitwasyon, sino man ang tamaan. Kaya hindi ko hahayaan magtagumpay ang hangarin ng iba na hatakin ang buong bansa sa burak ng politika. Igalang natin ang proseso. Tuparin natin ang batas. Alalahanin natin ang mandato na pinagkatiwala sa atin ng milyon-milyon na Pilipino. Magtrabaho po tayo sa ikauunlad ng Republika ng Pilipinas at para matamo ang bagong Pilipinas.
Lower house lawmakers expressed solidarity with the chief executive amid the threat posed against the first couple by the vice president. To manifest their support, the lower house issued a house resolution that conveys their full support not only to the leader of the land but to this house speaker as well. PTV's Mela Lesmoras tells us more.
During today's House plenary session, lawmakers have adopted House Resolution number 2092 expressing the unwavering and unqualified support and solidarity of the House of Representatives to the leadership of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and Speaker Martin Romualdez in the face of serious and dangerous remarks and defiant acts, specifically the tirades and threats against them by Vice President Sara Duterte. Some House leaders also condemned this. According to Speaker Romualdez, the Vice President's threat was dangerous and serious, so it definitely should not be ignored.
Hindi na to biro. Hindi na to normal na panalita. Isa itong direktang banta sa ating demokrasya, sa ating pamahalaan, at sa seguridad ng bayan. Such statement is not just reckless, it is dangerous. It sends a chilling message to our people. A message that violence can be contemplated by those in positions of power. This is not just an affront to the individuals targeted, it is attack on the very foundation of our government.
Apart from this, Speaker Romualdez also denied Duterte's accusation that he is allegedly plotting to destroy her because of alleged political ambitions of the House Speaker for the 2028 elections. Instead of spewing unfounded and baseless accusations, Romualdez challenged the Vice President to address the issue of her alleged anomalous use of confidential funds.
The issues surrounding confidential and intelligence funds, the questionable disbursements, and the lack of transparency demand answers. We will not tolerate and accept vague explanations and evasive responses. Kung wala kang itinatago, bakit hindi sagutin ang mga tanong? Karapatan ng taong bayan na malaman ang katotohanan.
As a final note, Speaker Romualdez led the House of Representatives in declaring full support for President Marcos Jr. and affirmed their commitment to continue fighting for the truth.
I reaffirm my unwavering support for President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and his administration. Together, we will continue to advance the reforms and policies that will lead us to economic recovery, national security, and a more equitable society. Ang laban na ito ay hindi tungkol sa akin, hindi tungkol sa inyo, kundi para sa ating bayan at sa kinabukasan ng bawat Pilipino.
From PTV, Mela Lesmoras, Balitang Pambansa.
The Vice President's remarks beg for a legal counter or response. Ad hominem attacks laden with profanities or cuss words that denigrate and defame the people they directly address are pleading for a lawsuit or appropriate charges. Thus, the Philippine National Police sees absolutely no reason why cases shouldn't be filed against the Vice President on her latest rant over the weekend, as PTV's Ryan Lesigas tells us more.
The Philippine National Police is investigating what cases can be filed against Vice President Sara Duterte following her open threats against the lives of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. The PNP describes the situation as a matter of the highest level of urgency.
Definitely, these words, if uttered by one particular person to another person, definitely there are some applicable and relevant laws applicable na po pwedeng maisampa sa particular na kausa ito, regardless kung sino po ang nagsabi, regardless kung sino po ang target nitong mga pananalita na po na ito. But then again, we are just being careful to give the specific as to the possible cases to be filed against those people who were involved in the incidents last Saturday.
PNP Chief Police General Romel Francisco Marbil has also instructed the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group to investigate Duterte's alleged threats. The CIDG is coordinating with the Presidential Security Command as part of the investigation. The investigation centers on whether a hitman was indeed hired by the Vice President or if her statements were purely hypothetical or figurative.
We will make a chronological events of this. We will make the complete records of this. And then after that, we'll analyze and discuss these facts of the case vis-a-vis the possible laws na magka-come into play. Will it be obstruction of justice? Will it be direct assault? Will it be the other penal laws?
While the CIDG leads the investigation, other police units will also assist.
Yun ang talagang tutok ng PNP. Kasi specifics na yun eh. So, nandun tayo sa level na yun. Yun ang talagang abot namin. Kung totoo nga bang may hitman, kung totoong baka naman walang hitman, o baka naman yan ay figure of speech na naman. So, yun ang ating mga titingnan dyan. And we'll be including all of those and considering those in our investigation.
The National Security Council has also responded to Duterte's threat, calling them a national security concern. The Presidential Security Command has elevated its security protocols following Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin's directive. The PSC states that it is now on heightened alert. The PSC is working with law enforcement agencies to identify, prevent, and neutralize any threats to the President and his family. The PSC emphasized that any threat against the President and First Family will not be taken lightly and is considered a national security issue. The palace will also not disregard the Vice President's statements about hiring an assassin to kill President Marcos should anything happen to her. The Presidential Communication Office confirms that Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin has referred the matter to the Presidential Security Command or PSC for appropriate action. Any threat to the President's life, particularly one openly made, must be taken seriously, the PCO stressed. From PTV Manila, Ryan Lisiges, Balitang Pambansa.
Following a publicly issued death threat made by the Vice President against the Leader of the Land, the First Lady, and the House Speaker, the Presidential Security Command has doubled its security detail on the Chief Executive. Authorities, most especially the close-in security of the President, are duty-bound to take any threat issued against a top official, especially one that is life-threatening, as serious and should be dealt with accordingly. PTV's Alan Francisco reports.
The Presidential Security Command has doubled security arrangements and close-in detail for President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. This move follows Vice President Sara Duterte's statements against President Marcos Jr., First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez in a midnight rant over the weekend. Major Nestor Endoso, the PSC Civil Military Operations Officer, did not disclose specific details about the total PSG forces deployed to protect the President and other members of the First Family following the threat. The PSC is now on red alert status with stricter security measures enforced in Malacanang Palace.
Kung sa amin dito na didouble natin yung security ng President lalo sa mga upcoming activities niya, mas pinigting natin yung security. But kung sa personal, ma'am, hindi natin masabi kung ilan pa yung i-revise ba namin yung security. Pero yung sa coordination at saka sa lahat ng deployment, mas mataas ngayon.
Meanwhile, security at the House of Representatives has also doubled and tightened. According to House Secretary General Reginald Velasco, the Philippine National Police is now assisting in ensuring the safety around the Batasan complex. Although they have not declared a red alert status, heightened precautionary measures are being implemented.
Well, ang nag-augment sa amin yung PNP. Kasi hindi naman kami makaka-hire ng additional, no? So, pagka may additional security requirements, we always ask the PNP to beef up our security.
For PTV, this is Alan Francisco, Balitang Pambansa.
Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Bronner Jr. reminded soldiers to avoid being influenced by recent political events. In a flag-raising ceremony at Camp Aguinaldo, General Bronner reaffirmed the AFP's commitment to protecting the Constitution and adhering to the chain of command. He emphasized the AFP vowed loyalty to the nation and to the organization, not with any individual. He urged soldiers to remain professional and clear about their mandate, stressing their allegiance is to the position, not to the person holding it, in accordance with their oath to uphold the Constitution. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has assigned Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla, and Agrarian Reform Secretary Conrado Estrella III as government caretakers while he is on a working visit to attend the United Arab Emirates or UAE. The chief executive left the country at 9:11 p.m. tonight. According to the Presidential Communications Office or PCO Secretary Cesar Chavez, the said officials will oversee key government functions during the chief executive's official trip. The chief executive is set to meet UAE President His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The two leaders are set to discuss several issues aimed at further strengthening the relationship between the two nations. President Marcos Jr. will also extend his thanks to the UAE for recognizing and nurturing the talent of Filipinos. Accompanying the president is former Interior and Local Government Secretary Benhur Abalos, who has close ties with the UAE royal family. The Department of Social Welfare Development or DSWD has prepared 1,000 family food packs and 500 sleeping kits for distribution to the victims of the massive fire in Isla Puting Bato in Tondo, Manila. This is in addition to the assistance provided by the local government or LGU. The fire destroyed 5 zones, leaving 2,000 families homeless and reducing homes, businesses, and livelihood to ashes.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Ako po ay si Mr. Nelson Uloy ng Barangay Luer Magulan, Lake Cebu, South Cotabato. Ako po ay 26 na taon na nagsasaka sa 3 hektaryang lupang ipinagkaloob sa akin ng DAR. Noon ako isang tinanti lamang sa lupang aking sinasakahan. Nang dahil sa programa ng ating gobyerno, ako po ay isa sa pinakamasayang benepisaryo ng Voluntary Offer to Sale or BOS na nakatanggap ng collective title noong 1998 bilang katibayan na akin ang lupang aking sinasakahan. Dati pangarap ko lamang na magkaroon ng sariling titulong na matatawag na akin. Ngayon abot kamay ko na ito. Isa ito sa mga pangarap ko sa buhay na magkaroon ng sariling sakahan. Salamat sa Split Project. Ngayon hawak ko na ang aking titulong minimiti na ako lamang ang mag-isang nakasulat dito. Mabuhay ang programang agraryo dahil may titulo na ako at wala na itong utang sa bangko. Taos puso kong pinapasalamatan ang ating mahal na Presidente Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos at sa ahensya ng DAR na pinangunahan ni Secretary Conrado M. Estrella III. Mangako po ako na pangalagaan at pagyamanin ang lupang nagkaloob sa akin ng ating gobyerno. Sa muli, maraming salamat po at mabuhay tayong lahat and God bless us all.
The Department of Budget and Management or DBM reported infrastructure spending rose in September. The infrastructure expenditure surged to 137.1 billion pesos, up 16.9% from 117.3 billion in the same month last year. The increase was driven by robust investments in public works, transportation, and national defense projects. In the January to September period, infrastructure and other capital outlays went up to 14.6% to 982.4 billion pesos from 857.6 billion pesos in the same period in 2023. Resourceful, creative, innovative. How do Filipinos make do with so less to find ways and means when financial wherewithal is absent? And in Davao City, an exposition of homegrown products or creations were showcased, many of which cater to the service grassroots communities. Philippine Information Agency Davao's Genevieve Abangan reports.
Filipinos are naturally innovative. It can be found in the things created to address the needs of our everyday lives. Department of Science and Technology Secretary Renata Solidum recently attended the Grassroots Innovations and Circular Economy Expo held in Davao City, which showcased several grassroots innovations.
Grassroots innovations as local solutions, although often supported by limited resources, contribute to inclusive and sustainable development. The implementation of GRIND through its 4L framework, learning, leveraging, linking and legitimizing brings our grassroots innovators or gritors.
Presented at the Expo with more than 600 grassroots innovations documented under the Grassroots Innovations for Inclusive Development or the GRIND program.
Ating innovation, ang ating S&T interventions should be inclusive. Ibig sabihin nun, kasama lahat, no? Kasama pati yung mga nasa grassroots communities natin. Kasi sila ang nangangailangan talaga ng S&T interventions para magamit nila yung S&T or Science and Technology sa kanilang mga negosyo, sa kanilang livelihood.
Creative and affordable inventions are among those showcased in the expo. One of these innovations is the do-it-yourself egg incubator from Panabo City. From PIA Davao, Genevieve Abangan for Balitang Pambansa.
And that concludes our rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation. This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the Filipino people. Catch Balitang Pambansa again tomorrow at 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m., and 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Joe Fernandez, and this is Balitang Pambansa.